don't give a tin what the issue is. No. Regardless. Now, look, if you show up here tonight with no rent, your ass is on the street. All right? Hey, I'm going to have to get off here, all right? All right. Love you, buddy.
Love you too, Dad.
See you for dinner. What's going on, guys? I'm Lakota from MYR Mediums, and this is vlog number 3 of 2020. For those of you who have not seen my last 2 vlogs, you're not welcome here. I'm not gonna lie, I did not have anything prepared for this video. I've been working on another video that will hopefully be releasing next week, but probably not, and band stuff on top of that. So I did the logical thing and asked you to do all the work for me. I asked you all to ask me questions, and by golly, you did it. I got on Facebook and Instagram and bribed you with a drawing, a drawing, like a name drawing, not a drawing, but it kind of is, because it was a drawing for a signed limited edition print. Yes, indeed it was. So today's video is an Ask Me Anything video. Let's get into it. Jay Downey from Facebook, that's right, I'm not giving away first names here because I feel like that makes me sound more professional. But she asks, do I remember the first painting I sold? I think I do. I think I remember it being a piece called Robots and Unicorn Clouds. It was from like, I think 2009 or 2010. I'm not even sure. It's not with me anymore. And it was one of the first bigger acrylic pieces that I made, and I'm pretty sure I sold it on eBay. I do, however, remember the first commission piece that I did. It was for an album by Apollo's son called Falling Becomes Great, and I will always remember that because it was my first gig that I considered to pay well. And also, Billy has become a very good friend. He's an amazing artist himself. He found me through MySpace. That's how old that is. Next question! D. Axton. How old were you when you first realized your talent / that you were going to be an artist? I've always drawn. It was how I got through school, was drawing on the back of pieces of homework. Really? Okay, I'm just going to tell the whole story. Way back in like 2008, my wife was cleaning out closets in the basement of her parents' house where we were living at the time, and I was like super depressed. I was just like, I was going to work, coming to that house and just sitting on the couch in the basement and didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And my wife, she pulled out this like little 3-pack canvas panel set, and she handed it to me and said, hey, do something with this. And I'm pretty sure that she meant for me to put them in like another closet somewhere, but I started painting on them, and I realized how therapeutic it was. So that's when I realized that I wanted to paint. So fast forward like a year, and we were at the mall, and an album cover caught my eye, and it was In Flames, A Sense of Purpose, and I saw the artwork on that, and I was like, oh my goodness, what is this? I had never heard of Alex Pardee before this. I had seen his work, but I didn't know like who he was. But that made me start digging into him, and then kind of looking more into like lowbrow art. But I just remember seeing that album and thing, which is a great album, by the way. It was like one of the first good In Flames albums since Horacle, probably. Yeah, I saw that album and I was like, I want to do this. Like, this is the type of line work I want to do. These color gradients are just stupid. So, you know, yeah, I started just copying Alex Pardee's style way back in the day. And which, don't ever let anybody tell you that that's wrong. To like plagiarize somebody's stuff is wrong. But if you did not practice a style that you liked, then you would never be good. Like everybody got their idea from somebody else. I remember discovering Alex Pardee, and then I remember discovering people like Nicholas Caesar and Gus Fink and stuff like that, and seeing that stuff and going, oh, wow, that's incredible. I think it was Austin Kleon who wrote a book called How to Steal Like an Artist. There's a quote in there, not from Austin Kleon. I don't remember who the quote was from, but it's brilliant. It's if you copy from one artist, that's plagiarism. If you copy from many artists, then it's research. So don't ever let anybody sit there and tell you like, hey, you're copying this guy, because yeah, you are probably, but as long as you take it and you make it your style, like people are snobs. Don't listen to them. Do your thing. Do your artwork. And if it looks like somebody else's artwork, people are going to tell you. And then you're going to find another artist and you're going to say, hey, I like this too. And you're going to incorporate that. And then eventually you're going to have your own style. I'm not even really sure if I actually answered that question, but I just went on a 4-minute rant and I'm tired of that question now. So on to the next thing. T. Bernholtz asks, why don't you acrylic paint as much as you used to? They were my favorites. So, why? I am a very impatient person. And that's why I fell in love with watercolors. I never have to wait too long for it to dry. So, with the acrylics, I go, like, I put a lot of work into the washes. And so I'll do, like, a couple different layers, and then I like putting this stuff on that I call Crackle Lacquer. I don't know if that's the actual term, but excuse me. But yeah, you like would paint black or whatever color you wanted to. You'd paint that, and then you'd put this lacquer on it, and then you would paint over it, and it would crack and age it. Like my hand, apparently. I don't know why I'm pointing at my hand. But it took so long for this stuff to dry. And I would sit there with a hair dryer and just for 30 minutes until this stuff dried. And it's just tiresome. It's completely because of impatience. Yeah, watercolor dries much faster. Like you lay down a line on the paper and then another line, and then you go back, and this it's dry, it's soaked in, and it's good to go. I can start inking it immediately. So I hope that answers your question, but I will probably be doing some more acrylic work just for you and other people that would like acrylic stuff as well. J.M. Barton has asked me, what mediums that you... What? I don't read too good. What mediums that you haven't worked in are you looking forward to? None. I've learned all that I want. That's not true. So, at the moment in the art world, I'm good. I really wanted to get into digital, and I finally did that, and I love it. It's been good to me. I've seen the process for like oils, and I am not interested at all. I don't know why. It just does not appeal to me. But like other avenues that I go down, like film, I would love to get back into acting. I loved that. I'm currently working on 3 books, one of which is a novel. One I'm actually going to be reading for this channel, and another one is almost done, and I'm hoping to release it this year. Who knows though? A lot of hesitation has gone into that book. Yeah, you know, I've done. My goal has been to just like take as many darts and throw them at the board and whatever sticks, because it just anything to get out of my day job. So one thing that I haven't done and I would love to do is rap, because apparently you can just get a SoundCloud and start doing that. So, this might be my chance. Let's do that now. Why not?
Better watch out, I'm a Loch Ness Monster. Up from the deep water world, Kevin Costner. Call me Wyatt Earp for the threat I'm posing. Dancing with the wolves when I'm wearing sheep's clothing.
Okay, well, that was rough. Rap is a no-go. Tyler B. asks, where's the Liverwurst tree? That's a great question. The Liverwurst tree is one of the 3 books that I mentioned that I'm working on. It is a poem book. It's better than my raps, I promise. The Liverwurst tree is very much alive and well. It's done. The artwork is complete. The writing is finished, but I did it all in pen and ink, and I want to self-publish it. And so to make it easier on myself, I'm actually going back through. I'm going back over all of the artwork and digitizing it. So it still is just a black and white black and white sketch for the illustration. But once I'm done with that, I am going to focus in on getting that sucker printed and out, because I've been sitting on it for what? Good grief. I think I started it 2 years ago, and it's been done for a year. But yeah, I just, like I said, I put a lot on my plate, and then I focus on other food groups, and I'll let one food group sit for a while, and I'll forget it existed, and then I'll come back and be like, oh look, I still have carrots. So the Liverwurst tree is my carrots on my plate. That was a really dumb analogy. D. Stillman asks, what has been your biggest inspiration for your art? What was the lowest moment for you, and what was the biggest triumph? So I'm just going to answer 2 of those, because it's rude to ask more than 2, and you should feel ashamed. Biggest triumph: marrying a woman that has supported me in every artistic endeavor that I've gone on. That is a triumph. Lowest point: that is actually going back to plagiarism. So a while back, I was doing Russian nesting dolls. I had Nightmare Before Christmas on, and while I was doing them, and I was doing kind of like a Halloween-y themed set, and I don't even think pictures exist of this, because I took the whole set down. I didn't sell them. I painted over them, as a matter of fact. I was really proud of them when I was done, and I put it up on Facebook in 120 different groups, probably more like 5, but and I got a message. That message wrecked me at the time. Not that I don't now, but the message was from Gus Fink, and I really like his artwork. I love the dude's body of work, and he's always been super nice whenever we've interacted. Okay, so one of my nesting dolls that I had made, it was a pumpkin, and whenever I made it, I was kind of taking inspiration from the Tim Burton looking pumpkin, and but I put the pumpkin up where the head was supposed to be. So then I was like, well, I'm just gonna fill in the body, and I'm like, I'm gonna give him arms, and pumpkins have vines, so I gave him these viney arms. It looked really good. Problem was that when Gus Fink messaged me, he was like, hey, somebody tagged me in one of your pieces, and you said that you were using one of my characters, and the character being Pumpkin Billy, which I think is a boogly head of his. It clicked, and I was like, dude, you're right. It looks exactly like Pumpkin Billy. And I was so ashamed. Looking back on it now, it's I don't think it was that big of a deal, but at the time I was just kind of having a bit of a come up, and I did not want to be looked at as the dude who copied people's work. And so I panicked and took that all down. I apologized profusely, and he was cool about it. He was like, hey, no, it's no big deal and everything, but I just wanted to address it. and he had every right to. So yeah, I think that was probably my low point. I just felt really bad about it. A. Bailey has asked, when you started out, how did you figure out how to market and price your work? When I started out, I had no idea how to price my work, and I still struggle with it. I'll just quickly kind of tell you the journey that got me to making my assumptions on how I should price my artwork. I factor in what I spend on my materials. So let's say you're working with acrylics on a canvas. The canvas, pack of acrylics, all my brushes that I used and how much it would be to replace them. And then back then, I don't remember what I was like put my price tag per hour as, but I tack on like $20 an hour. I think it's like $20 to $25 an hour, depending on how big the piece is. So materials, time spent, and then honestly, you got to factor in what, like, whenever you're done, how much you like the piece. You know, like, I've done pieces where I'm like, it's good, like, it's done, and I have no problems releasing this to the world for this price. But then there's other times where I'm like, I love this piece, and I kind of don't want to let it go, and for those, I will ask an astronomical price, not like $1 million, but if it would have normally been a $75 piece, I would charge, like $200 for it. And sometimes you get that. There's people out there that, like what you did too, and they're like, hey, I will pay you with money so that you can give it to me. And a lot of the ways that I kind of came up with in the early days, whenever I was doing work mostly for bands, I would charge them on a sliding scale. Like, if you're in a band, you're already struggling. You're probably dirt poor. So I would be like, I would just ask them, well, I'm like, what can you afford? And then I would kind of go off of that. So that's how I did it back then. Now, yeah, it's materials, usually $25 per hour, and then just how much I actually like the piece. Second question from A. Bailey is, what is your all-time favorite piece you've done, and what are you most proud of? I have no idea what my favorite piece is. I tend to forget about them within the week. I thought about this question long and hard when I read it on Facebook, and I was like, I really don't know, do I? But I think I narrowed it down to this piece called Blessing of the Dirt Man, which was just a late night Scrabble that I just cobbled together. That or We All Bloat Down Here. So those are my two favorites that I've done. If you ask me next week, it'll probably be something else. But right now, those are my two favorites. What am I most proud of? I am not so much proud, but I'm happy. It fills me with joy knowing that, like, during this whole COVID thing where we got quarantined, I sold a whole lot of art. And it actually, it got us through. And so I was like, you know what? It made me realize while we were in quarantine, like, okay, I'm making just as much as I would have made at work, if not more. It made me realize that it is very realistic for me to quit my day job and become, and do this full time. It is possible, people. You can quit your job and start doing what you love full time. I would say I'm living proof, but I still haven't quit my day job because they have killer insurance. Brandon B. Oh, what's that? I'm switching to first names and initials for the last name? That's right. Screw continuity. He asked, what music inspires me the most with my artwork? And so it's mostly instrumental stuff. Like, I listen to like 1940s to early 80s jazz, synthwave, and audiobooks. Generally, if you see me working on artwork, most likely I'm listening to an audiobook. William Love asks, full name drop. Sorry, William. You are going to have people looking for you now, and you have me to blame. When you're all alone, do you swim in the depths of your thoughts, getting lost within the chambers of your mind? Yes, and it's terrifying. Derek S. asks, how do you cram all of that goodness into that fragile human meat sack? Like this. Braden B. asks, what was your largest sale / most profit made off of said sale or individual piece, and was it worth the time? I never kiss and tell. That's the answer to that. But yes, it was worth the time. Christopher V says, I sent you like 37 questions yesterday on Instagram. I know, I received all of them. Thank you. They were so useful. How many chickens would it take to eat an elephant? Am I a joke to you? And the answer is clearly 230. Abraham K. asks, do you ever consider growing a giant mustache and curling it upwards so it always looks like you're smiling? No, I hate mustaches. This is as long as I will let mine go because I hate it so much. I'm actually planning on shaving right after this video. Not the beard, just the mustache. Like, it gets to a certain point where it grows up into your nostrils and I want to die. It's awful. I hate it. Kudos to you and your mustache, though, because it sounds like yours is pretty dope. G. Havalton asks, that's right, we're back to the first format, first initial and last name. What's your favorite thing to draw? Probably trees. I have a love-hate relationship with them, but I draw them so often that I guess I love them. So that's that. Trees. Okay, so this is the last question, but it is a good question, and I have looked forward to answering it. It was a very long blurb that went into a lot of different directions, trying to figure out how she wanted to word it with, I don't know, without offending me or something like that, but she did not mean this with ill intent. She was genuinely very curious. But it's a question that deals with my faith versus my artwork. I'm going to paraphrase this. Marty A. has asked me, as a Christian, how do I justify drawing monsters? So it's just the fact that I don't look at these things that I make as evil. Most of the time, things that are absent in my work is violence against humans, pornography, and drugs. Unless there's a story that I'm wanting to tell with an actual moral. Like, most of the stuff I draw is just illustrations. And, you know, whenever I create a creature, I do look at it, and I know other creative people out there do this too. Like, when you're working on it, like, you're giving this thing a backstory most of the time. Like, you know where it grew up, where it's going, what his mom's name is, stuff like that. And most of my creatures that I make, they're not evil. Like, they've never been made with evil intent. They're just ugly. People that have asked me this before, where they really were saying, like, hey, you shouldn't be drawing this because it's ugly and you're a Christian. It's like, dude, have you ever seen an anglerfish? That thing looks like it was dragged up from the pits of hell. You know, there's never an evil message behind what I'm doing. I don't like that. There's enough evil out there. And I have created some of my works that I've done I haven't liked. They were too dark, and I usually shelve them or get rid of them. I actually very rarely get rid of stuff because I also think it's the therapy side of it is you know, if something dark does come out ever, it's usually because I had something in my head and I needed to get it out of there. I put it down on paper or a canvas, and then I just shelve it. It was a therapy session. Most of those pieces never see the light of day. So I hope that answers your question. And if I did not get around to answering anybody's question that wrote in on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, just know that you did not ask in vain, because your name is still in the drawing for the Siren Head piece. This has been fun. Actually, I lied. This was hard. This was a hard thing. I've never really done an Ask Me Anything, and I feel like I rambled a lot, and it was probably hot garbage. But I hope it holds you over till next week when I release another video. I don't know what next week's video is going to be. I'm hoping it will be a very pleasant surprise and experience for everybody involved in this. Thank you so much for subscribing, and yeah. Let's draw some names! Wow, look at that lighting from the ceiling light. I am so pale. Okay, so I told you that if you would ask me questions for this YouTube video, I would draw your name, and you would win a print of the Siren Head fan art that I did recently. Alright, I said I would draw 3 people, and that's what I'm going to do. The first name No, I'm going to reveal them once I get all the names on the table. Alright, let's see it. 3 names. This is all the losers. And the winners are Brandon Bernholtz. Just so you know, I'm not lying. Focus. Focus camera. We can do this. There we go. All right. Derek Stringer and David Stillman. Congratulations. I'm going to go get prints made tomorrow. I'll message you. I'm going to get your address, and then I'm going to deliver them personally to your house at 3 a.m. Thanks for watching, guys. I sincerely appreciate it. And if you like this video, there's other videos that are not like it at all throughout my channel. Yeah. Still need to figure out how to end these videos.